He had the greatest 3-fight win streak in the history of the sport. He knocks out Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and then Charles Oliveira. It's the greatest 3-fight.
Holloway and Volkanovski back to back. He thinks that, I can knock these guys out, but the only fight he's had at 55, he's gotten dropped by Jai Herbert. And then we've seen him get like out-muscled and out-wrestled by a couple guys at 45. I think Islam's just going to be
Rogan has weighed in on the ongoing tension between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, calling their recent exchange the kind of moment that could set up the UFC's next blockbuster. Meanwhile, Khamzat Chimaev is back in the US with his visa issues resolved and is already stirring the pot by calling out Sean Strickland. Arman Tsarukyan is pushing hard for his title shot, while talks of a potential McGregor vs. Khabib rematch are beginning to resurface. Now in Los Angeles, finalizing his training for a title clash against Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319 on August 16th in Chicago. Chimaev isn't just focused on the belt, he's also making time to fire back at Strickland, who's been talking about him
Sean
for years.
Strickland, all these guys, they should be afraid of us. We fight not just for us, like they do. We fight for all Muslims.
That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking at the UFC 319 media scrum, Khamzat Chimaev said, "I'm in LA, bro. If it's something personal for you, just come. I'm here whenever you want." He also called out Sean Strickland for only talking tough when Chimaev was out of the country, adding, "When I was there, he never said anything. When I leave, he starts to talk."
I was training with him. Like, he's just training with him. Like, he's just, you know, it's like, if you knew, I always say there's guys, if you knew on a personal level you wouldn't like, Chimaev is one of those people if you knew you wouldn't like. You know, he'll come in here. There's a video of me, I always like, "Oh, you're so good. You're better than everybody." Like, I'm being sarcastic.
Strickland, currently suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, can't fight officially, but that hasn't stopped fans from speculating about a possible showdown with Chimaev outside the cage. With both men just hours apart, an off-the-book scrap may be unlikely, yet the tension between them is undeniably real. Looking ahead, a Chimaev vs. Strickland fight seems very possible, especially if Khamzat leaves UFC 319 with the middleweight title around his waist. Meanwhile, Dustin Poirier is back in Lafayette doing what he does best outside the cage, giving back. Just weeks after UFC 318, he and his Good Fight Foundation hosted their 5th annual Back to School backpack giveaway, providing over 1,200 backpacks to local students.
Y'all got 2? You need one more? You got 2 kids? Don't offer that. Thank you.
The event drew a huge turnout, with kids lining up early to receive backpacks filled with school supplies. Poirier personally handed out the bags, posed for photos, and spent time with families, creating a warm and memorable atmosphere. Last year's giveaway moved over 1,500 backpacks in just 1 hour, and this year's numbers were just as impressive despite his recent retirement. Joined by dedicated volunteers, Poirier spent the day ensuring local students were equipped and ready for the
Good
new
Fight
school year.
Foundation holding its annual school backpack giveaway today. Poirier, of course, known for being a great fighter, but also for giving back to the community. A total of 1,200 backpacks filled with school supplies being given away on a first-come, first-served basis to school kids at Service Chevrolet Cadillac here in Lafayette.
Because I realize I have a platform that people are
The event
listening.
comes as Poirier continues his break from fighting, though his presence in Louisiana and dedication to local causes remain front and center. Meanwhile, Arman Tsarukyan is turning up the heat on Ilia Topuria, urging him to stop dodging and make a decision. Speaking from Los Angeles during Media Day, Tsarukyan called out the lightweight champion for claiming he'd rather vacate the belt than defend it against him, saying, "If he feels he's going to lose that fight, it's better to give up the belt. He knows I'm a big problem for him. He wants an easy fight with Paddy or Geithia, but with me, it's going to
So
be
I'm
hard."
just still very in training and trying to call out Ilia as much as possible. So, but
Yeah, we've seen some of the tweets towards Ilia. They've been funny. I enjoyed the duck video that you did. What do you make of the fact that he says he would rather give up the belt than fight today? He just don't deserve it. He doesn't budget.
I mean, he feels that he's gonna lose that fight, and it's better to give the belt and then
Topuria has remained vague about his next move since knocking out Charles Oliveira to claim the vacant title at UFC 317. Recently, he teased a possible matchup with Paddy Pimblett, sparking speculation that the UFC might prioritize a big fight over pairing him with the toughest available challenger.
But then guess what, Arman? You have made yourself a star already by some of these antics to build this fight up. And Ilia Topuria, as we know, is already a star. So he's going to continue to just be a bigger star if he's able to stop all these guys that are trolling.
Everybody and their damn mama, they want to...
Tsarukyan was originally scheduled to fight for the belt earlier this year but withdrew on short notice due to a back injury and hasn't competed since. Now fully recovered, he says he's healthy, training twice a day, and has already informed the UFC he's ready for September or October. While open to a warm-up fight, possibly against Dan Hooker, Tsarukyan maintains that his ultimate goal is the title, also naming Justin Gaethje as a potential opponent.
Stop running, Ilia. Good boy. I'll make it quick, no worry. Good boy.
Gaethje has said he's not planning to fight again unless it's for a title, hinting that retirement could be near. As it stands, Topuria hasn't committed to a title defense, leaving the division in limbo. Tsarukyan's message remains clear: he wants his shot and won't stop pushing until he gets it. Meanwhile, Joe Rogan is fully backing a potential superfight between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, insisting it should happen now. Over the past week, the UFC world has been buzzing about the heated back and forth between Topuria and Makhachev, and Rogan's reaction captures the growing tension, excitement, curiosity, and the sense that this could be the blockbuster matchup the UFC needs.
How do you see that fight? How do you see that fight going? If it goes to the ground, do you feel confident that you could out-grapple him, or try to keep standing in?
My mindset is always the same. I'm always looking to achieve things that no one could. So someone could submit him. I will be the first one to submit him.
On his podcast and social media, Rogan dismissed the usual debate over whether Topuria should first defend his belt multiple times before earning such a matchup, saying, "I've been saying, let's make it happen." He called it the fight to make, highlighting that both fighters are at the top of the pound-for-pound conversation and stressing that Makhachev versus Topuria would be a must-see event for every serious MMA fan. Meanwhile, the surrounding storylines are only adding to the hype, with Topuria's knockout of Charles Oliveira at UFC 317 to claim the vacant lightweight title sending his star power skyrocketing.
Who do you think should be next for Ilia? Who should be next for Ilia? 55 has always been so cloudy at the top. Maybe Gaethje. I think him going to 170 to fight Islam, if Islam wins, is a stretch, you know. Islam's big, man. I've never seen Ilia in person, but he seems smaller. I know, obviously, he can knock anyone out. I do think if they fight, Ilia can knock anybody out from 45 to 170.
Ranked number 1 pound for pound by the UFC, Islam Makhachev is set to challenge for the welterweight title later this year against Jack Della Maddalena, while Topuria has made it clear he's interested in legacy fights, putting a showdown with Makhachev firmly on the table. Even Islam's coach, Javier Mendez, who once dismissed Topuria as a serious threat, now admits this would be the biggest possible fight for Makhachev right now. Meanwhile, Khamzat Chimaev says the fastest path to becoming the pound-for-pound number 1 is by beating Makhachev. Speaking during his UFC 319 fight camp, Chimaev didn't rule out moving down in weight again after his middleweight title shot on August 16th, saying he's open to fighting across multiple divisions, including welterweight, with Khabib recently revealing that Makhachev will return in November to face Della Maddalena at Madison Square Garden. Chimaev acknowledged the potential stakes, adding, "We will see who is going to be the champ there, but if the guy wins that fight, that's the fastest way to get the pound-for-pound."
It seems like you're next up for the title. What do you envision your title run looking like? Do you want to clear out the middleweight division, or would you prefer to sort of go up to light heavyweight and challenge?
I'm talking about 3 belts from a long time ago, so of course I want to go up. But what Dana White, what the UFC wants, I don't know, man. So if they gives me, first I have in my weight class, need to take the belt, so then I gonna think about it.
His comments sparked a wave of online reactions, with fans immediately hyping the idea of a future clash between Chimaev and Makhachev. While some questioned the potential size difference if Makhachev moves up, most were thrilled by the prospect of a champion versus champion showdown. One fan wrote, "This fight would break records. I'd like to see it happen," while another added, "Islam versus Khamzat would feed families. I hope Islam's the one to make it happen."
Khabib and Conor fought. I was that day on the work, you know.
Like, was it at a restaurant or like?
Yeah,
what?
you know, like bars,
a bar?
different places, you know, like the guys come out, you know, like they was too drunk, put them out. You
Fuck Khabib. Yes, I'm not Khabib. No way. They was thinking I'm Khabib. They was too drunk.
And this
I
was in
said,
Russia,
Khabib
right?
fought today. What are you talking about?
You had to break up a lot of bar fights as security?
Not fights. I couldn't punch in Sweden. If you punch,
The buzz around the potential fight kept growing, with fans chiming in to say, now this would be a sick fight, and this is the fight everyone wants to see. This would be bigger than Shavkat versus Merab. Even though Chimaev hasn't officially won the middleweight belt yet, his sights are already set on bigger challenges. Whether at 170, 185, or even somewhere in between, he's openly talking about chasing greatness. Chimaev also revealed that former US President Donald Trump played a role in helping him return to the US for UFC 390, crediting policy changes during Trump's presidency for enabling his visa approval. In the past, he faced travel issues, linked sanctions on Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, which impacted fighters with Chechen roots. Now based in California, Chimaev has been able to complete much of his camp in Los Angeles ahead of his middleweight title fight, emphasizing it wasn't
everyone knows I didn't have the visa to US. That's why I didn't fight only once in Abu Dhabi. So now, no Trump here, so we go for a fight.
The White House fight, the White House foreign.
Bro, look at my face. I don't think so. They may let me come over there, bro.
He also reacted to news of a planned UFC event at the White House on July 4, 2026, organized by UFC CEO Dana White with support from Donald Trump as part of America's 250th anniversary celebrations. When asked if he might be part of that card, Chimaev laughed and shrugged it off, saying, "Bro, look at my face. I don't think they'll let me come over there, bro." He added that he prefers to keep politics out of sports, even while acknowledging the support that helped him return to the country. For now, his focus is entirely on training in Chicago and capturing the belt at UFC 319. Once the fight is over, he plans to go home, take a break, and then decide what's next.
I didn't have everyone knows I didn't have the visa to US. That's why I didn't fight only once in Abu Dhabi. So now, Donald Trump here, so we go for a fight.
Chimaev didn't say much more about the White House event, keeping the focus squarely on his upcoming fight. Still, his return to US soil and the timing of his visa approval have drawn plenty of attention, especially as UFC leadership continues partnering with Trump on high-profile events. Meanwhile, Artem Lobov believes the biggest fight in MMA history could take place in 2026 if everything falls into place. The former UFC featherweight and longtime teammate of Conor McGregor says a rematch with Khabib Nurmagomedov is still possible, despite Khabib having been retired since 2020.
And then I feel everything would be sweet between us as well. And we could get the band back together. I would love to see him come back because I feel that if he was at 100%, we would be able to bring Khabib back as well. I think that Khabib would come back for that fight if Conor was 100% and fit and making real moves, making real fights. He would just need one fight, knock the guy out, and then the whole world will be talking to Khabib and getting him to come back.
Lobov was cage-side when McGregor lost to Khabib at UFC 229 in 2018. A night marked by a heated rivalry and a chaotic aftermath after Khabib submitted McGregor. Since then, Khabib has remained undefeated and retired from the sport after defeating Justin Gaethje at UFC 254, showing no real interest in returning. However, Lobov believes there's one factor that could change that. Speaking to Ariel Helwani, he said that if McGregor gets back to 100% and proves he's serious, Khabib might be tempted to return. I would love to see him come back because I feel if he's at 100%, we would be able to bring Khabib back as well, Lobov said.
Conor McGregor did not train hard for the Khabib fight, UFC 229. Artem says, if Conor trained hard, he could have beat Khabib. Conor only trained 2 times per week during his fight camp leading up to one of the biggest MMA fight cards in the history. The lead-up was amazing. Conor McGregor never took it.
He added that McGregor would only need one solid win to shift the momentum, just one fight, one knockout, and the whole world would be calling on Khabib to return. McGregor hasn't fought since breaking his leg in 2021 against Dustin Poirier, and for many fans, his decline began even earlier after his 2017 boxing match with Floyd Mayweather. Still, his name alone continues to generate money, and Lobov sees the potential return as more than just hype, calling it a fight for the ages that could lure Khabib out of retirement under the right conditions. Meanwhile, Matt Brown believes Conor McGregor has lost the identity that once made him a dominant force in the UFC. In a recent interview with MMA Fighting, The former welterweight knockout artist reflected on where things began to change, saying, "Now his identity kind of got ripped apart by Dustin Poirier. Khabib probably first, but Dustin kind of put the nail in the coffin on that." For more updates, breaking news, and exclusive UFC stories, make sure to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the action.